An $8.3 billion bipartisan bill on Friday meant to fund the development of a coronavirus vaccine, medication to treat the illness, as well as diagnostic tests. What do you think of that number, and how do you want to see that money used?
Well, it's a first step, but we need to do far more. It's a scandal that we've only been able to test less than 1,000 people in this country. South Korea has already tested 100,000. One of the things we need to be doing is using the WHO's test. I don't know why we're not using that in this country. We need to be partnering with a lot more startups and technology leaders to get a cheap test out to everyone, and the CDC needs to be reporting that. I asked in budget hearings the Deputy Secretary of Health and Human Services why the CDC has stopped reporting how many people are being tested. They need to be more transparent.
Have you reached out to any of your home companies here in Silicon Valley and asked what are they doing or what can they do to help?
I have. We have been reaching out to a number of startups. A number of them have contacted us, and we're passing that information on to the CDC and the NIH. What I have called for is saying that the NIH and CDC ought to convene either a conference call or some meeting with leading technology experts, leading entrepreneurs to figure out how we scale the testing and get the testing in the hands of people who may need it. That is the biggest problem right now. We are unable to test at an adequate scale.
Are you satisfied with the federal government's response and messaging on the coronavirus overall?
I'm not. I think they're underestimating the crisis. I mean, one of the reasons the market is crashing is that people aren't buying oil. The plane travel has declined. People are being much more cautious. And so this is having a dramatic effect on the economy. And people are concerned about the possibility of contracting coronavirus, particularly the elderly or those who have some health conditions. I don't think this is a time to downplay the crisis. It's a time to actually acknowledge what's going on and have a real response to contain it.
How would you change what's coming from Washington? You have the ear of people in the Bay Area right now.
Well, first, I would have called for more allocation, $15 billion as opposed to $8 billion. To put that in context, our national security defense budget is $738 billion. So you're just talking about 1% of what we're spending on national security in terms of an additional $8 billion. Second, I would say let's get people in there who know about testing and how to make this more widespread. And third, I would be very honest with people about the crisis and the impact it's having, and think about where we may need fiscal stimulus and what industries may need fiscal stimulus to avoid layoffs and to avoid a recession.
We were showing pictures of Wall Street as you were speaking here. The Dow down right now by almost 5 full percentage points. Congressman, there's been some talk of shutting down some parts of the federal government and having lawmakers essentially take a recess to help prevent the spread of the coronavirus. Where do you stand on that idea?
The Speaker is considering everything. I don't think we should take that kind of drastic action unless absolutely necessary. It could create more panic. Of course, we're being very safe. We've stopped doing meetings that are not necessary. We haven't been shaking hands if it's not necessary. But ultimately, the Speaker has to weigh the serious health risks with also our duty to provide leadership and to reassure people and not contribute to a panic. So far, she has decided that we should be in session, and I'm confident she will make a sound judgment on that.
South Bay Congressman Khanna joining us live on the